Well, truth is that most of organizations do need dispatching, do need mobile client pricing, complex, simple pricing, some dashboards, obviously reporting and so forth. Well, I would like to assure that FieldOne with Microsoft definitely have all the features, all the bells and whistles, and I do believe that they are best in class. I've been working in Microsoft Dynamics space for 10 years. I've been building the things that come out of the box right now and available for pretty much configuration and ready to use. I also have pleasure to meet a number of different FieldOne technicians and architects, and I know that these guys are working very hard to release even some new features that are coming up to be available in the fall and so forth. However, today I would like to invite you potentially open up a little bit and then shake some things up. Now, it is true that I could spend next 55 or 45 minutes talking about all the features and then reviewing all of those things that are great, that are most likely will advance your business to different heights, potentially will allow you to reap great benefits by simply implementing those features, like better inventory management or dispatching, and then actually having the ability to communicate to your field folks. I would actually even venture to say that even if you would use some product that is non-Microsoft product that is competing, that maybe it's a little bit more economic, you can still reap a lot of benefits because you potentially would be replacing your Excel or paper-based systems with something that is more advanced. And frankly speaking, if I have any Microsoft folks on the line right now, I might be potentially getting a little bit in trouble, but having a modernized system, even if it's standalone system that is not Microsoft, still will be better potentially than paper. However, back to what I was saying about shaking things up, I want to talk what it would really mean for you to really transform your business. And can we talk about what does that mean from a new age perspective? I'm talking about what would it take for you to move your service operation from a cost center to a profit center, or maybe you have some sort of profits from the field perspective, but can we actually build a business unit that can withstand the future requirements from the demand perspective? So let's pause for a second. What is a cost center? So typically the cost center is a division that costs money to operate. You have salaries, you have costs, you have travel costs, and so forth. Now, if you sell products, resell products, if you build things, you potentially need to deliver warranty, you need to have call center to answer the questions, knowledge-based articles, and so forth. And we work with a number of companies. They do have literally libraries of the product books and user manuals and schematics and all this stuff, and a call comes in and a guy puts somebody on hold for half an hour and runs back in the back office to do some research to figure out exactly what part they need. Well, we understand that that's part of operating the business, and that's way of life. Now, if you flip that over and we think about what is a profit center, well, obviously profit center has the ability to generate revenue and has a control on how that revenue is generated. So what I would like to do in this webinar is actually focus and talk about what would you need to know to actually start building a strategy to transform your cost center, or at least evaluate your cost center and figure out how that can be made more profitable. So with that, from the presentation perspective, I would like to take some time and talk about current industry state, where the things are going, and how they evolved. And let's call that 50,000 feet view. Then let's look at something around 30,000 foot view, where we potentially can be talking about the specific steps that the organization can take to make the improvement. And then we'll spend the biggest part of the webinar talking about the vision demo. So I will actually, as I said, talk about 10 things that your organization need to consider or start taking actions on, and I will show you some of those elements and how they can really advance your business. Now, when we will be doing the demo, I will be potentially showing some of the things that maybe stand alone, and once again, they might be available in other systems and so forth, but from our perspective, we're looking at the bigger picture. We're looking platform. We're looking at how things relate as a whole. I mean, what is there where many standalone products potentially can fall short. Now, if I have to send an email and copy and paste the details that I send out an email, well, great that I have a system that allows me to do the scheduling, but I still have a lot of manual work if I want to really have the data and compliance and so forth. So with that said, from the industry perspective, now I'm sure there are a lot of smart people on this call, and I'm sure a lot of people heard a lot of different things as far as where we are, where we've been, and so forth. So we can look at a lot of different statistics that 95% of Fortune 500 companies are deploying mobile applications, that customers, end users, your employees, executives, and everybody more and more have multiple devices that they're working from. I mean, we can spend a whole day talking about a lot of different things. We can talk about customer expectations. The customers are getting more social. They like to do the things where they do the things based on their own schedule, not necessarily company work hours and so forth. Everybody's getting busier and so forth. So there are a lot of different things that drives the industry and drives the change. So the point is that there's mobility, there's a social, there's cloud, there's information. Well, what does that mean? I mean, what do we do? Where do we go from there? We can also talk about that, the forecast is that right now, in a couple of years, we'll have another 2, 3, 4 billion of connected devices. We can talk about money. You know what? Rolling out mobile solution can save a lot of time that potentially can represent 7 to 10% profit savings. We can talk about the customers are more willing and likely to listen to their peers who are like them, and then receiving referrals. We can talk about the customers who have good who had experienced things with a company and that the service was excellent, potentially are more likely to buy and pay for things for that service, opposed to spend some time in a mediocre environment. However, I think a couple of the key things to talk about is that, first of all, customer expectations are changing. So obviously, we have mobile devices, we are connected, we communicate in different ways. So we can argue, or if I talk to some people, we have discussions about business revolution and changes and other things like that from a technology perspective. But the reality is, if you kind of drill down to low-level details, there is a major shift in communication. There are communication expectations that are changing, that are driving a lot of these changes. We're building new technology because we expect to communicate more naturally. We're building new technology because we want the things when we want them, not when we have to wait till business opens up and so forth. So from the customer perspective, everyone is connected, and expectations are rising, and they are rising quickly, and the customer is expecting for the things to be resolved quickly. Frankly speaking, when a customer calls up, they don't want to know if you're marketing, you're sales, you're customer service. They just want an answer. So the other thing is that there is a data explosion in the industry. So typically speaking, I mean, we have our internal systems, we have ERP data, we have some of the internal things that we have, but there is huge amounts of data generated all over the place. And the truth is that we really have no shortage of data in most industries and most companies, but we actually have more shortage of the insight and intelligence. We lack of a consistent information in a same place, aggregated potentially by multiple systems, that allows us to visualize, be proactive, so we can make consistent decisions. How many times you just wish to potentially take away all of the things that are not normal, actually to take all the operational that are normal things, but actually focus on the things that are anomalies and potentially take action on those, whether it's a service or sales. So reality is that from the industry perspective, we are seeing a move towards more connected customer. And at the end of the day, more connected customer is more profitable, more loyal, and then provides many more benefits to the companies than somebody who just does one transaction. So connected customer or full engaged customer means that if I'm doing a sales and I'm working with a sales team and 3 months later I'm calling a customer service, well, I expect the customer service to know what I bought, even if it was a custom thing. If there is a marketing material that I'm receiving and then I'm going and buying something, I'm expecting that whatever marketing material or promotion I got will be potentially available for me in the sales or will be available for me from a customer service perspective. So it is important to really engage your customer and engage the customer at a lot of different levels. So I know that webinars is about how to wow your customers, how to build the relationships, and how to take the field service or the service in general to the next level. But the reality is we as a company need to work together within the company and potentially engage the customer outside of the company. And the truth is that that's not that simple when you think about it. If you are a smaller company, this can be potentially a bit overwhelming when you think about it. Do I have any constraints? You might ask yourself. Well, technology is great. I like these ideas. I like these visions. But reality is I don't have any resources. I might have constraints from the user availability perspective, technology, geography, maybe even my labor force, and so forth. Maybe I have government regulations and some other things that make things much harder for me. So just remember, you guys don't have to do it yourself. I've been doing this for over 10 years. We have a number of other people within a Turnkey who've been doing this for even longer than that. We have a lot of smart people in Microsoft building the tools that allow you to potentially immerse yourself into the technology that is available, potentially take you to the next level. So if we get a little bit more specific and talk about what does it mean for you to potentially go from a cost center to profit center and what you need to do. Obviously, the first thing is you really need to think about understanding your value. So I think there are a lot of different opportunities in the industry right now where the things are shifting from just selling the products and doing the service as a cost to providing value by providing the services that you do. Obviously, if we're looking at understanding your value, we need to make sure we have good product and service. And then the second challenge with that is to really understand how to articulate the value of that particular product or service. Now, everything comes from understanding your value. You need to spend a good amount of time to actually defining and considering what that means. So obviously that's the first thing. From there, let's talk about focusing on customer experience. Overall, from a forecast perspective, the customer value will be more valuable than brand recognition or enterprise value and then so forth. So when you think about, you want to surprise and delight your customers. You want to define how the customer moves through your service process, figure out where the hard points are, and figure out how you can smooth them over. What can you do to potentially improve the customer experience? If they gave you preference that they like certain technician on a certain time frame to do the work that you do on a monthly basis, well, why not record that and have the system automatically remember that so your users don't have to remember that within your organization. Next thing is aligning marketing and sales. Well, we already talked about it, but the challenge, the truth is that over half of marketing and then the sales professionals will tell you that the communications between between marketing and then sales are okay at best. Then the key thing is that the data is siloed out and the processes are siloed out and the things are working completely disjointly. So from a customer experience perspective, the customer wants to be cared for. They want to understand that they are valuable to you. So obviously if you marketing and your sales are not collaborating, that already puts the customer on the point where they are not completely sure that your organization can actually deliver on your promises. Now, step number four, you need to focus on productivity and collaboration. I think statistically speaking, 55 hours per week of work is essentially a hard ceiling in terms of productivity. So the question is, what can you do to minimize the things that your most valuable resources are doing on the non-productive tasks? So let's call those time sinks. And generally speaking, in business, the time sinks are emails and meetings and other non-productive tasks such as data re-entry. So what can we do? What kind of systems can we provide to our staff, our constituencies, and to our even customers where we can actually make things more productive within our organization? Now, obviously, mobility is kind of pretty straightforward, but if we think about it, I think Aberdeen research, the number of studies, and they show that by simply implementing a mobile solution that is effective, obviously, you can gain 77% of productivity. So think about it. If you have top managers, if you have field service reps, if you have a number of different people within your organization, and they're gaining at least 7%, well, look at your payroll and compare that 7% gain, and maybe that means that that gives you potential to have 2 or 3 extra people on your staff by really not adding any new staff members. And obviously, you save a lot of time on collaboration and communication because you increase the speed of the communication. Point number 6, optimize scheduling and inventory. Well, that is kind of straightforward, but let's consider a worst case scenario. Your technician isn't clear where to go, doesn't know what to do, what the problem is. When he shows up in there half an hour late or maybe an hour late, he doesn't even have a right parts, so there's not only cost to your company, or you will have to send somebody else, once again, drive and then pay for the labor to repair things, but there's also customer irritation. So if we keep thinking about the customer, I don't know about you guys, but personally, I don't really like when I have to do something with a company and they say, yeah, we will be there between 12 and 5. Well, I have 2 small kids, I have work, I have a lot of other things. I cannot really sit the whole day waiting for somebody to ring my doorbell so they can actually go in and fix a fridge or something like that. So on the other side, let's look at best case scenario. Technician still shows up early. They actually send a SMS notification to the customer half an hour or maybe when they're en route saying, I'm on my way, I'll be there. That shows up when they told. They know exactly what needs to be done. They even have schematics and other details about a particular product that they're fixing, have all the parts and all the elements needed, and can also potentially have a customer sign it, invoice the things, and complete everything everything remotely. Now, from a customer experience, that's amazing. That's huge. From a business perspective, obviously, we're talking about big gains because that saves time. From the point number 7 perspective, gain insights from customer data. Well, I already said we have a lot of data in our systems that we just don't use it. I mean, can we take some of the information that we capture, or maybe we can capture better information one step at a time and actually do something to surprise and delight our customer? Now, when we talk about technicians being marketers, well, they can recruit, they can make referrals, they can potentially ask for additional services. We have a number of different customers who actually go to the site to service their equipment, and they can see that there are some other competitive equipment sitting out there that they can actually provide the service for it. Technician logs that information or even offers that to the customer, and the customer says, yeah, that would be fine. You guys did a great job. Let me actually allow you to service that equipment as well. And now that's right there another team for your company to potentially actually go and do additional services in addition to just selling your parts. Now, the other thing that we always see is people, the companies, do give away a lot of free service. There is always a need to build the relationships and then foster those relationships with their customers. But philosophically speaking, if you keep giving away the services for free, eventually the customer will start perceiving those services as no value added. So you need to see what you can actually do to balance the building of the relationships and also growing a profit center by offering the services that are perceived as value added. Now remember, the number 1 point was understanding a value and actually building something that adds a value to the customers. Now, from the business perspective, point number 10 is kind of obvious, but we really need to start thinking about treating the service lines of business as real line of business, not just a division that we sing a lot of costs from a company perspective. Our recommendation is to start using terminology, start using the proper terms of forecast and other things that are actually prevalent in the business ecosystem. Because, well, sometimes you have to fake it till you make it, but you got to start taking the steps and then pushing your team until everybody buys in. So the truth is that when we think about it, the transition from a cost center to profit center is really a major undertaking in many organizations, and it won't be easy. So when you think about the technology, the digital transformation, we potentially can look at engaging the customers, empowering your employees, understanding what's going on and where the rough things are from your process perspective, and actually potentially optimizing your process. And then we can talk about transformation. I mean, what can you do? What other products or services you can offer that actually supplement what you're doing? The key in here is strong planning and fundamental focus of the needs of your customer. Should always be in the top of your mind, and top of your leadership's mind, making sure that you can actually utilize the current technology and actually optimize the things that are easily optimizable, like scheduling, inventory, and some other things like that is another key. Now, take some of these low-hanging fruits, take advantage of them, because once again, I've been doing this for a long time, implementing the systems, and for a long time we used to build out the components and we used to drop in and reuse them as value added. Now all of these things are available for out-of-the-box implementation. So one last slide before we jump into demonstration, but I want to talk about, share some thoughts about what can you really do to transform your business. And I want to talk about high-level things, and maybe it's somewhat too philosophical, but when you think about it, as a traditional model, you sell the products and you sell the service separately. Well, can you look at the service economy and actually understand how can you utilize the data, do some predictive offers for the customer where you will say, look, we'll sell the products and we'll actually service the product, so you don't have to hire technicians who are actually doing something on our products, but also doing another 100 different things, and potentially they are not maintaining the products. So can you focus on outcomes where, look, if you buy our product, maybe it's not the cheapest product, but that product will be serviced by us, and your labor cost will not be associated to the product, but we will guarantee X number of hours uptime or percentage of uptime and so forth. So the other thing is that gives you a chance to actually engage in a little bit less transactional and more relationship-based module with a customer. Now, from the company perspective, delivery of work in a traditional model is typically done by employees. Well, can you and your organization actually build a network of professionals who, when needed, can potentially log in your system, access your system, get a schedule notifications, interact with your data, but deliver some of very specific services that you don't need to deliver on a constant basis, so therefore you don't have to have a payroll. And then another thing, which is kind of out there and then a bit more challenging for most mid-sized companies to potentially understand or even see the vision at this point, is at this point we are running our companies and then our divisions by Excel, paper, and so forth, and a lot of times a lot of institutional knowledge is held by few people who've been in a regular company for 20 years, 10 years, and so forth. So a lot of things are really based on human interactions. Well, can we see the future? Can you offer the services to your customers, your constituencies, where you actually use Internet of Things to actually look at anomalies, detect them, create a service ticket, so then you actually are flagging something that is potentially requiring your attentions or your technicians or human interaction, and then potentially could become something that is easily resolvable or alert it to a customer, or maybe that would require for you to send a technician in the customer preferred time opposed to dealing with the fires. So with these things, I mean, once again, it's a bit more philosophical than just looking at the features, but our hope and our intention in here is that we see a lot of industry change. We see a lot of technology change. We see a lot of behavioral change in a number of different players in the industry, and we see that as an opportunity that can be presented to your company to grow and then reinvent yourself and position yourself to be really a modern company. And as I said, we'll take a look at the tools, but we believe that the tools are there. Microsoft does a great job innovating, spending a lot of research and development funds and putting smart people to work to actually deliver the solutions that work together out of the box. So it's not something that is available to enterprise level customers anymore, but is available to a lot of small and mid-sized businesses. Once again, the change and transformation is not always easy and simple. It still requires an effort. It doesn't have to be a Big Bang Theory where you have to do everything at once. You can take small steps. So hopefully you take some notes and then look at those 10 steps that we recommended, and potentially can start working on some of them and then building up the strategy for the next 5 years to implement if you're going to do everything at once. Now let's look at the Microsoft Dynamics CRM field services. So what are we seeing in here? We're seeing a scheduling dashboard. In the scheduling dashboard, we can actually look at a pretty map, and this pretty map has some indicators from me. It shows 3 work orders on a map, geocoded, that need to be scheduled, and it shows me some resources based on the colors that are scheduled. Well, you might say, how do we get work orders in here? Well, let's run with a scenario where I actually will go and create a work order. Well, actually, typically, we will see the work orders or field service requests flow in from 3 different channels. Sales, either pre-sales activities or installation of equipment that was sold, through preventive maintenance, or break and fix that comes in. So what we're looking in here from Microsoft Dynamics CRM perspective, this is a service dashboard. And as you see in here, I have access to my quick view of different types of the cases. We have view of where the cases came from, and we have a quick metrics in here showing the priority. From there, me as a user, non-technical user, I can say show me only high and critical data in here, and I can quickly narrow down to those elements. So if I just click on critical, that narrows the things down even further. So as you see right here, I'm interacting with this data. I can quickly navigate to a case and open a new case from within this screen. I can disable the filters again and see all of the information. So I can quickly come back in here and create a case and potentially pass the case for somebody else to resolve it. But what I would like to do is actually show you a different view where we can actually see a little bit more information about who the customer is and what they're doing and what the cases are about and so forth. So what I'm going to go in here is from the Dynamics CRM 2016 navigation. I have some shortcuts in here, and I will jump to I'll just jump back to the services area. I'll jump to the cases, and I'll just create a new case. So what I can do in here is I will say, let's create a new case. Notice that what happened on the right side in here is I have a little flyout that is contextual sensitive training. So from a user perspective, I can actually say, you know what, let's go and find some cases, or let's go and add new case. So what Microsoft has built is the ability for you to go and actually guide your people and specifically tell how to do the thing. So as you see in here, it says click in here. I click on there. That opens up. I can say create a new case, and the process can actually guide me through exactly what I need to do to actually create a new case. But obviously, this is not my first rodeo. I've been in the system. I know what I'm doing. So I'm just going to go ahead and actually create a new case. From a case perspective, well, every company have different things that you guys sell and products that are important to you and so forth. So we can track a lot of different details. But from a case type, let's assume we have a gas station that is calling us. So we'll say we have a gas station pump damage. We'll say that this is non-warranty type of the case. We'll quickly look for the customer. And if you have a customer in a database, you potentially can capture that customer right there. If you don't have a customer in a database, maybe you can just choose to enter some basic contact information in there. Now, if you went through the sales cycle, well, maybe you can actually have the specific details about the specific job and actually pull that customer jobs that you implemented, that you won, and so forth, so you can actually gather all the details. On the other hand, maybe end user is a quick trip, but a particular contractor is calling you. So why not to capture that information? So then when you deal with a contractor or when you deal with your customer, you can actually have some specific information available where you say, you know what, I have that particular contractor and a particular contact into that contractor working with us. But as you see in here, I just captured a couple quick pieces of information. System automatically saved it. I click to the next stage. So I show some of the details, and I know that based on the information I'm gathering from a customer, I probably will need to dispatch this as a work order. As you see right here, we have a little trigger that potentially can say, hey, you have X number of hours or minutes to respond to the customer. Once again, focusing about the customer experience, it's important to make sure that they feel the love. So if I'm looking in here, I moved it to the next stage. So this process is helping me to guide me through the process. I will say, yes, first response was sent, so the timer stopped. I'm successful. Once again, I'm not escalating. I'm a manager. If my manager is looking at this, they're not looking at this case was not paid attention to, and so forth. But here's where important things happen, though. What is an incident? So I can actually say, you know what, look, I know that a gas station host replacement is one of the things that we do. We have some templates set up, and the customer told me what specific asset. So they have a fuel dispenser number 1 in there in the gas station that needs some kind of work. Notice that when I selected the fuel dispenser, this window popped up in here and potentially can display some of the specific details about that particular unit. So once again, from a sales perspective, if you have a sales and marketing and then a field service and the service are working together, we potentially can say, when I win opportunity, when I do the things from the warehouse fulfillment perspective, I can actually track the specific inventory items and specific history and actually record that information. That's what we're doing. So we actually created the particular customer asset. And from my perspective, I can literally click on create a work order, save this record, and pretty much resolve the case, because I'm just a technical resource that I'm dealing with the cases, and that's it. So from my perspective, I'm done. Now, if we flip the script, we have work orders. So from work order perspective, here is a dispatcher looking, and here's a new work order that popped in. So I can click on that work order. That will show me where is it located. That particular did not get coded in yet, but I can take any of the other work orders in here. And you know what? The truth is, I don't necessarily know all the people in the company. We're growing so fast where I don't know exactly what skills they have, so I need some assistance scheduling. So as you see right here, one of the things I could do is I could just take a look at the map and visually potentially take that work order and schedule with this particular resource that is scheduled already to do these work orders. On the other hand, I could flip to a view like this, where it shows me the resources, show me when they're available and different colors mean different things. I can drag and drop a particular work order, and then when the resource receives a notification on a mobile device, and I will show you how that works, they can actually say this is confirmed, and then visually I can actually see how much time is allocated for travel, if these things are confirmed or canceled, and so forth. So I can actually interact with multiple staff members. And as you see in here, these people are employees because they're users, they're using the system, but there are also some contractors who we subcontract in remote areas to assist us. But on the other hand, I can also take a particular work order and if I don't necessarily know who I want to schedule it for, I can literally click on the scheduling assistant, and I can rely on the system to make a recommendation for who do I want to potentially dispatch. So as you see right here, the system, the scheduling assistant, says, all right, so let's look for people within 20-mile radius. I search for the resource. There's nobody available in here. Well, just for fun, let me put 200 miles. Well, there's nobody in here. All right, let's for fun, let's put 2,000 miles. Well, there's nobody in here. All right, well, I found some people, but these people will be located 3 or 4 hours away in the particular time period where they might be not the best resources to use it. Now, I also noticed in here that that particular case type or work order type requires certain skills. So once again, I can come back in here, say maybe, I don't need electrical, maybe I don't need petroleum, maybe I can change carriages and so forth, where I can actually potentially have different choices of different people that can service that particular case. I can also play with the time. Maybe we don't need to do this right away. Maybe this is preventive maintenance, and we'll have a window of number of days to address the issue. And as you've seen here, I can select one particular resource, and obviously from a travel time perspective, it's remote location. So we'll go ahead and select Robin in here. I can click on Robin. Booking window will fly out in here. I will say I want Robin to start at, and these are all the times that are available, at 8:30. So they will drive, they will start at 8:30, they will drive, they will be there at 12:15, and they should be done with work at 2:18 p.m. So I will go ahead and schedule this. So from the customer perspective, the customer can get a notification about when the particular driver or particular technician is in the route, how far they are off, are they going to run late, arrive early, and so forth. So you can also send the customer the picture of the technician, description of the technician, the work you're going to do, and so forth. But now let's flip to the actual work order screen for a minute, because I want to show a couple more things in there. So if we go back to the field service and we go back to actual work orders, let's see what really happened when we created that case. So when I look at that particular case, number 19, we converted that case to a work order. So what the system did, it automatically created a work order. You see in here, I have a Quick Trip, which is a company that we are servicing particular work at, and then we have a billing account. So potentially the work will be done in this location and that address, but all the billing details will be going to this address. Cat Francis is the primary contact. So once again, I can click on a button, or maybe click on a button and make a phone call from here. I can see that there is an estimate. There are details about how long the work typically will take, and we have some other details when we schedule to actually see, what are the resource travel times estimates and so forth. Other thing that happens in the FieldOne or field service system for Microsoft is we also have the ability to visually see what products are allocated. So I use a template. The template has a product saying, when we fix the gas station pumps, we typically will have to replace breakaways, and we will have to replace hoses. We can also say that we will typically bill for the services and so forth. So now if I go back to the scheduling board, and just for fun, I'll switch back to Dan's, to this view. I will take work order number 19, and I will schedule that for Dan. So now from a user perspective, your technicians typically will have a mobile device. They can use even the phones that they work with. These devices can be fully offline capable, and they can synchronize live data or synchronize whenever they go online. So as you see right here, the view brings up all the work orders. And I will actually, for the sake of time, just pick work order number 19 in here. That shows the schedule, and if technician says that I am traveling, the system will actually log the geographical coordinates, the location, will start tracking the mile, tracking when they start driving, and actually will have a log of all of that information. But the important thing is on the dispatcher's dashboard, that information will change, will flash, will show that a particular technician is en route, and then the customer potentially can get communication about that. Now, if I go to a particular work order, and I'm a technician, I'm working on this particular issue, I can come back in here and make any updates I need to. But I can also see particular set of products. So this particular thing was preventive maintenance. We have a number of different products in here. So as you see in here, I know I'm working on a particular unit. So this is fuel dispenser number 1. And I can say, yes, I did needed a couple of units, but I replaced only 2, not 4, and I will actually change the status to used. So now right here, your technician is recording the things that they need to potentially have the dispatcher and the back office bill for. So then we'll say yes, we use 3 units in here, but only 2 going to be billed for because one of them was broken and then should be under warranty. So as you see right here, I can kind of go through my process, and when I'm done, we'll come back in here and I will say that our order is completed and save this one. So from a technician perspective, this is completely customizable. I can see my schedule and acknowledge the schedule. I can see my products on my truck, what is available. I can potentially even search for the products on some nearby trucks. Actually, I can see the quantities available and so forth in my warehouse, in the main warehouses and the regional centers and so forth. I can also see things on the map where my customers, my work orders are and so forth. And even from the work order perspective, if I go to a particular location, and here's my work order number 19 that came in, and I actually drill down to that particular work order, I can even throw this thing on a map and actually say, all right, so I need to be in here, give me directions. And on my mobile device, whether I'm using the phone or iPad or Android phone or whatnot, the system will actually use the device's native default applications and then navigate me to that particular location. So now if I fast forward the things, I can go back to, and we'll go back to the order number 18 in here, see what happened in here. So if I go to work order number 19, that work order, as you saw, was completed, and the status changed to open completed. So once again, your dispatchers can keep a look at the dashboard, see the things are completed, come back in here, start reviewing them, and as you see in here, we see no estimated subtotal was 1,100, but we actually just have 140 hours. What's going on in here? They can quickly look at the products, and they can see that a couple of them were used. Maybe there's some notes. If there would be a signature that was taken or picture before and after work was done on a mobile device, those would show up right here. And once we walk through the scenario, I'm happy to bring up a couple of work orders I did just a minute ago that actually have that information in there. But also, they can potentially look at the things that they think should be billed for. So if they look at this particular unit number 1 in here, they can bring up and say, no, what technician potentially did not flip the switch that they completed the task, so therefore they should bill for their time. So they potentially can enter this information in here. We can track their amount that we bill for the customer, and the system can actually figure out if you want to do the maximum amount, minimum amount, or the things that are under warranty. If you're going to bill minimum of $25 plus, after that you're going to bill a quarterly, our quarterly rate and so forth. You can also restrict access to certain fields, like these actual costs is obviously something you don't want to show to everybody, but as you see right there, the resource have a cost set up to them. So, and then assigned to them. So if we use flat cost or specific cost, that information can show up right here where we say, you know what, we're going to bill the customer this amount, but our cost is this. So therefore, we can calculate the margins, profitability, and so forth per route, per territory, per customer, per technician, and so forth. So as you see right there, I just flip the switch, and I will go back to the actual work order, and within the work order, I will come back and actually mark this particular as closed, posted, completed, save it, and that's it. So I reviewed it, and the things are done. Now, if I go back to the invoicing, the system will actually create an invoice. So here's number 18, and typically we'll interact with a ERP at this point and push information. So anything I entered, anything that we do with the products are reflected in here. The system also, I see if I have a shortcut in here, will go back to your warehouse and actually allocate the product and then solve with the product if you configure it to do so. So if I go to my warehouses, I can actually see a particular warehouse, and I can see the products within that warehouse. And as you see right here, whenever a work order is created and things are allocated, then it allocates it, and then it shows that the things are not available. So potentially, if I'm doing this and I'm trying to use certain not available, I get a notification the products are not available. On the other hand, if we kind of go back to the customer experience, Well, we can also talk about some of the things on your side that can be made easier. So if I go back to a concept of um, customer asset, can we do something on the sales side that actually, once again, configures and builds the custom components or custom solutions for the customers, and then once we drop them in here, they will be available for a particular customer for a particular location, and then when we service those, we actually can build a full history. So with that said, another element before I navigate from here is concept of agreements. Can your sales process be involved at earliest stages before you actually start servicing the customer, where you actually define, you know what, we're going to sell some extra products. We're going to sell the products, but we're also going to sell the services. So if I have an agreement that I created with a customer, this one is activated, I can drill down, once again, using the process. You can guide the people to kind of go and walk through all the steps, but I have an agreement booking setup where I can actually set up which pieces of equipment that a customer purchased from us will be serviced from preventive maintenance perspective or any other services, and actually pull those things together, set up who is the preferred resources, what are the customer preferred times, and so forth, and have the system to generate the work orders X number of days in advance, so without not consuming all our inventory resources. We can actually either have the system automatically or not even book particular resource for particular work order. So therefore, we don't have to rely people using Excel, Outlook calendars, or paper-based systems to book the resources and remember that we have to do something for this particular customer. We also have worked, talking about Internet of Things, with the customers where we took a look at the pieces of equipment. We set some settings on the equipment that said, no, this piece of equipment needs to be maintained every 500 hours, but the burn rate of those 500 hours can be few weeks versus a couple of months, sometimes even years. So we build a system where we set up the agreement like this that predicts when that particular piece of equipment will need to be maintained, and we can put those things on the calendar, so therefore your staff can actually look at allocation of the resources and the forecast, the peaks and valleys of the labor needs within your organization. So now if we flip really quick back to the sales process, I have an opportunity open in here. Well, I've been talking about opportunity and management and then kind of understanding your customer. Well, one of the things in here, I have selected Airmasters Corporation as a customer, and right here what I'm displaying the ERP data within that particular opportunity. So if I'm trying to sell something back to that customer and I want to understand what interactions we had with them, did we work on some opportunities? Did they buy something from us? Did they influence some deals and so forth? We can actually show that kind of information right here within this opportunity record, and this is just one of the examples. Obviously, we can do this on case and work orders and so forth, but we can show all that kind of information when it's needed to be shown. On the other hand, if your process is complex, well, we can accommodate you building a configuration. So a configurator solution where you actually configure the things, you negotiate with the customer, you put agreements, you put the services, you put additional value-added elements into your selling cycle where, you know what, you sell the parts, but maybe you do some additional things where, you know, maybe you do the maintenance of the engines and other things like that, and maybe even simple things like, well, if they operate from a certain location and you sell, maybe you can actually do a fleet washing and some other things like that in addition to you rolling out the trucks and then customizing the trucks and so forth, or reselling them, because potentially you might need those. And as you see right here, if I build this, all of these information can be potentially converted to particular customer asset. There, you already know who the customer is and what kind of assets you have and what kind of components they have in their location. With that said, if you need to collaborate on more complex projects, we can talk about potentially having Office 365, Microsoft Dynamics CRM, FieldOne, project services, and other things built right on top of it, right inside of it. It integrates, it works seamlessly. As you see right here, I'm logged in as Dan Jump. I'm looking at my panel. I can get access to my applications in the cloud or even local. My local resourcing can be set up in here. I can come back and check my email, or from within my opportunity, I can see my opportunity dashboard where I can see different team members, internal or external, who gets access to this particular collaborative environment where I can work with the customer and their architects and so forth. I can potentially share the documents, and we work with a number of customers where we create this kind of environments and we share the documents where the customer and us potentially can come back and say, you know what, I want to open the document, I want to work with the document, and you know what, we don't want to restrict when people do what kind of work. So if there are two people working at the same time, that's okay. The system will track and system will allow to edit documents at the same time. But once again, is that a customer experience? Is that something that makes people easier? Makes you to work easier with your customers, especially if you have complicated things and you don't have to send out a lot of emails and a lot of appointments, but you actually have a collaborative environment? Well, I would argue that it is. It helps to coordinate the things and keep the things in one place. It helps you to build a history, and you don't have to save the document 5 times, send emails, keep track of all the communications and so forth. So if we flip back to the slides and then look at a couple last things in here, I mean, we can talk about service economy. You saw the knowledge management, engagement, experience, and working with the customer. We have not talked about the portals, but everything that I've done in the system can potentially be the self-service available from a customer perspective. And we can talk about on-site services that can be delivered by your staff who already knows all of these details about the customers. So from the Microsoft Spring release of the CRM, it includes out-of-the-box, end-to-end service and field service and then the project service components that I was showing to you are available within the system. It also allows you to better collaborate via the Office 365 integration, and potentially even allows you to enable customer or partner-facing portals, and also has hooks to powerful Power BI components, to intelligent machine learning, and so forth. So reality is that there are no other solutions in the industry that are available that offer this level of robustness to deliver customer service, sales, marketing, and other experience to your customers. So when we go back to the original set of slides that we started the conversations, well, as I said, we looked at the big picture, but once again, the challenge to you guys is, what does it really take to convert your cost center to the profit center? Can you really start seeing how you can take some of these 10 steps and not worry about technology, but worry about your processes and worry about your people and your customers to actually really embrace that change and then start making money from a customer activities that up to this point are seen as just necessary evil. With that said, we are at the top of the hour in here. What I would like to leave you with is a call to action. So we're here to assist you. Let us know what you guys think. You have my contact information. You can contact me directly if you're working with your account managers and you are our existing customers. Well, feel free to reach out to them, and then they will contact us on a CRM team and then a field service team. Also, if you saw something in here and you would like to hear more about it or need additional information, maybe some more in-depth videos and so forth, well, let us know. We'll be happy to provide some additional material that we have available. We understand that every business is unique. You might have some unique needs, and maybe some of these things that we talked about were a little bit too high, and you need to get into the weeds and talk about what I can do tomorrow, and we'll worry about the vision next year. Well, that's fine. Let us know. We'll be happy to set up a demo. Also, I would be happy to hear your feedback and your thoughts, and we're doing these webinars in an effort to inform you and then potentially bring some collaboration with our customers and add value to your business, because we do this day in, day out. We see a lot of different things. We're here to work with you. You want more? Well, let us know. We'll be happy to talk about field service. We can talk about portals, marketing. We also can offer a hands-on experience, a collaborative session where you actually can experience the things I was talking about. We can set up an environment where you will be able to walk through a facilitated process where we allow you to play in document creation and field service and project services and see how all of these things really work together. Because the truth is, this is not demo where we did not spend a number of hours building the things out to make things work and then look good on the demonstration. This is technology that is available right now. The question for you is, what do you want to take away from the presentation today. What are the key action items for you to start looking into? What are your key value offers to your customers? What can you do in addition to your current products and services that you sell to actually embrace that value-added mentality for your customers? And you need to choose those elements, and then we can work with enabling and empowering your competitive advantage to actually start using the technology that is available to you right now, and potentially will support your ambitions to stay on top of your game in the competitive and changing marketplace.